So, Mr. JC17, have you heard any players dropping out or struggling with current gas prices while on tour? And then the other tweet
Yeah, I
that
saw
goes with that is from mostly peaceful. Asked the same basic thing, saying like, large fuel guzzling vehicles. Is this causing problems? 2,000 miles a month on tour in a 10 mile per gallon vehicle runs about $1,000 a month at $5 a gallon. Last year's tour had that number at $500. So essentially, like prices for gas going up so much, people are now paying, a lot of money when
Yeah.
they're in these big vans and RVs and all that stuff. I'll be honest with you. I honestly have no clue how some people are touring. I have no idea how they even are doing it. I just looked at, just to give some context, like I didn't have that great of a Beaver State Fling. Like I didn't play that well, but I didn't play like terrible. And I got 32nd and I won. How much money how much money was that? Let me look here. So 32nd took home. Wait, what the heck? Hold on. Here we go. $310. So if I'm paying for everything, right? If my sponsor's not paying for stuff and it's all coming out of the Brody checkbook, like how does that math make any sort of sense?
No, it's tough. It doesn't.
And
is the answer.
And then you look at the Majestic. Did you look at the payout for that? The Majestic. Crap. Why does it do that? Why is it sometimes take you to the one from 2021? Okay, Barsby just won the Majestic. To make the same amount of money I made on that, would I say it was Silas 310?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you got 34th place at the Majestic, you won $300. So 32nd place at Beaver State Fling, and just to give you like an idea, I hate ratings, but to give you an idea, 26th place, a 944 rated player got 26th place at the Majestic and won $330. And if you're Greg Barsby, you won $2,465.
Yeah.
And you beat people, and the people that you beat in the field, these are just people that I know. Other touring pros. Evan Smith, Kale LaVisca,
Jordan Castro was there.
Dollar.
Right?
I guess you can throw Matt Dollar in there. Now I see Jordan Castro, Clint Calvin. Hebenheimer was there. Noah Meitzma. That's it.
Yeah.
So like it's a wild thing to me to think of like I obviously I want the Disc Golf Pro Tour to make sense for people to go and tour. I want the Disc Golf Pro Tour best players, but ultimately like it does not make sense to it really does not make sense to play on the Disc Golf Pro Tour a lot of times.
No, it's a very, very tough. I don't know. I would love to see, and there's no way this would ever happen. I would love to see financials of some of the people touring and just be like, where is this coming? Because I know some people like supplement their income with side hustles, driving for like Instacart, DoorDash, Uber Eats, stuff like that while they're on the road, and that makes a lot of sense. Some people,
or they do clinics, or they sell discs, and they do all that.
Yeah, yeah, and there's a lot of other ways. I remember one guy. I think he still does it, but I don't think he does it. I don't think he plays disc golf anymore. But he was like semi-touring disc golf, and I asked someone because like he would pop up random places, and like when he rolled up, like I was like pretty impressed with him. Not play wise, just like I forget exactly the whole situation, but I asked someone like, what is this guy's story? And the dude was running like pages on Instagram that had like hundreds of thousands of followers and was just doing like sponsored posts and like had like 3 or 4 of them that he was just running. And so he just kind of like worked from home and then played disc golf for some fun here and there. And so,
Yeah,
like, I
I've
feel
heard
like there's,
people doing like roofing and stuff.
yeah, I feel like there's a
that,
lot of
come into
random stories of like people who do stuff and they're on the pro tour, but it's like they can work from wherever they're going. And so they like pick up side jobs, pick up, like DoorDash is a very common one, I think, stuff like that. Obviously, the goal is eventually, if you're on the tour and you can place the top 20 a few times throughout the season, or like if you can place top 20 like once a month, then you're golden. That's kind of the eventual goal. And I think the tour is heading there. It might already be there in some facets, but I think that's why you see some players like, obviously Dickerson with his new contract, it's not a financial, well, it might still be a financial decision, just being smart with money, but like there's sometimes where it's like going to the West Coast, if you're driving out there and you're looking at the tour events out there, you're like, I'm going to drive all the way out there for, 4 or 5 events.
Oh,
it just doesn't make sense. I can go home.
Yeah, I wasn't like last cash. I was probably like, I think I was almost like middle, like lower middle of the pack. Cause I think I pretty much got like 30th or around 30th at all 4 events.
Yeah.
So like I was like the middle of the pack cashing at every single event. And from flights, from hotels and food, and then, obviously too, you got to factor in like the actual cost of, registering. And then we actually paid for the last 2 Portland events. We actually paid for parking. So it was $5 to park at Beaver State Fling. So I was out there Monday through Sunday. I was $35 to park. But you start doing the math and you're just like, holy cow, like I actually made no money. I actually lost a lot of money going out there. And it'd be interesting to see, like you said, the financials of a pro that's touring.
Yeah.
With the Disc Golf Pro Tour. And then it'd be interesting to see the financials of a pro that basically finds all the big A tiers that are still kind of in a drivable distance that coincide with tour events. Because if you can find a big A tier event, aka the Majestic, that is happening during a pro tour event, you only really have to beat like 5 people.
Yeah.
Where you look at the Beaver State Fling, you're having to beat like 50, 60 people. Maybe more now. I don't know actually what the number is now, realistically. But it's a crazy thing. Like you can bounce around if you like win you win a handful of tournaments here and there. Like you could easily make $50,000 off of disc golf. Like not obviously, might not minus your expenses, but I'm just saying like your income, you could easily make $50,000 a year if you're just playing a couple flex starts throughout the week and then just finding those big A tiers. Because like I said, like Greg Barsby just took home $2,600, and not to discount that win at all. Obviously the Majestic is a big tournament and lots of players go there. But if you look at the actual field of players that went there, he really is only having to compete against a handful of guys.
Yeah.
Versus the Preserve, next weekend. I mean, you're now having to the Preserve, you probably have to beat like 70 or 80 people.
Yeah, and not even to mention like A tiers, if the field's full, you still get sponsor bonuses and stuff. For players who like,
oh yeah,
even don't even have
think about that.
Because I remember I had a contract with Prodigy, just like a basic entry level pro contract. The only way I would make money is bonuses. So it was like if at a C tier, if it was like a completely full tournament, then they valued that because like your speech at the end is to a full tournament. B tier was slightly less people have required, but more money. A tier the same. And then it also like as you went up, it was like you had to win the C tier. This is completely made up things, but you had to win the C tier, come top 3 at the B tier, come top 5 at the A tier, come top 15 at an NT, come 20 at a major, something like that. But then it had a bonus structure. So I'm sure there's tons of players who are pros sponsored on like the lower end of the Pro Tour that have a very similar thing. And it's like, yeah, you could go to the Silver Series Pro Tour and have to come top 20 to get a bonus, or I could go to this A tier like you're saying and only have to come top 5 to get a bonus and stuff like that. And we also saw like for a while when Dickerson, before, this year he went a little more out west, but for a while that's what he was doing. He was just chilling around Tennessee. He'd play the East Coast swing events and some of the Midwest events, but he just dominated Tennessee, North Carolina, that whole
Yeah,
region.
I mean,
and made his living. And like that's
I mean,
the way to
these are
get into the Pro Tour.
let me just list off some names of people that didn't cash at a Silver Series event. Which,
Yeah.
again, back in the day, last year, Silver Series, we were like, it's not that big. Like, you even still think a Silver Series win is like, shouldn't count. These are people that aren't even
it's a Silver Series. That's why. It has nothing to do with the field.
But these are people that aren't even cashing at the last event. Eric Oakley, Calvin Heimberg, Chris Clemens, James Proctor, Tristan Tanner, Nicholas Carl, Nathan Queen, Andrew Presnell, AJ Carey. Then it kind of drops off after that.
Yeah.
But I mean, like the fact that you can list off like 5 to 10 pretty well-known touring pros, like this is becoming more and more of a theme. And in the past, I think, all these people are incredible disc golfers to where if they go to an event, they're almost assuming, not even assuming, they're almost guaranteeing themselves like, well, yeah, I'm going to cash. And I think that has been the biggest storyline this year is there are so many good players now in these fields that someone has to not cash. Like there has to be some people that just don't cash.
Yeah.
And eventually it's going to get crazier and crazier of where we start seeing, crazier jumps and swings and all sorts of stuff.